dancing shoes. Once upon a time, in a cheerful little town, there lived a girl named Clara. Clara loved music more than anything. She hummed while doing chores, tapped her feet during school lessons, and dreamed of dancing on the biggest stage in the world. But Clara didn't own proper dancing shoes. She only had an old pair of worn-out sneakers. One afternoon, while exploring her grandmother's attic, Clara found a dusty box tucked under a pile of quilts. Inside lay a pair of sparkling red shoes that shimmered as though they were alive. Attached was a tiny note: "For the one who dares to dream, these shoes will dance with you." The first dance! Clara slipped them on, and instantly her feet tingled. The shoes tapped the floor gently, then twirled, then leaped. "Whoa!" Clara laughed. "You can dance on your own." The shoes whirled her around the attic, spinning and leaping with perfect rhythm. When Clara giggled, they whirled faster. When she sighed, they slowed into a graceful waltz. She realized these were no ordinary shoes. They were magical dancing shoes. A night in the town square. That weekend, the town held its annual music festival. Clara wore the shoes to the square, where fiddlers played, drummers beat their drums, and everyone clapped along. When Clara stepped into the circle, the shoes took over. They tapped, kicked, and spun, creating dances no one had ever seen before. Sparks of light followed her every move. "Look at her go!" the crowd cheered. "She dances like magic." Clara smiled, but deep down she wondered, where did these shoes come from, and what else could they do? The secret of the shoes. That night, Clara dreamed of a glowing ballroom in the clouds. In the center stood a woman dressed in silver, her eyes kind and wise. "The shoes chose you, Clara," she said softly. "They carry the rhythm of the stars. But remember, true magic doesn't come from the shoes, it comes from your heart. Dance with joy, not just for applause." When Clara awoke, she understood the shoes were not meant to make her famous, they were meant to help her share happiness. The big adventure. Soon, Clara and the shoes went on many adventures. In the park, she danced for a lonely boy, and his laughter echoed like bells. In the hospital, she danced for children who were ill, and their faces lit up with smiles. In the market, she danced for an old baker whose tired eyes filled with joy. Everywhere she went, the magical shoes turned sadness into laughter, fear into courage, and quiet streets into stages of joy. The final performance. One evening, the mayor invited Clara to dance at the Grand Festival of Lights, the biggest celebration in the land. The entire town gathered, lanterns glowing, music rising into the night sky. Clara stepped into the center, her heart pounding. She whispered, "Let's dance for them, not for us." The shoes leapt into motion, gliding, spinning, and soaring higher than ever before. The whole crowd joined in, clapping, stomping, and laughing. Even the lanterns seemed to sway with the rhythm. As Clara danced, she felt warmth in her chest, brighter than any magic. She realized the shoes had only awakened what was already inside her, the power to bring joy through dance. When the music ended, the shoes glowed softly and settled at her feet. Clara bowed, but instead of applause, she heard something even better: laughter, cheer, and happiness spreading through the town. From that day on, Clara didn't just dance for herself. She danced for everyone who needed light in their life. And though the shoes remained magical, Clara knew her own heart was the truest magic of all. The Enchanted Backpack. Once upon a time, in a small town near the mountains, lived a curious girl named Maya. Maya loved adventures, climbing trees, exploring exploring caves and collecting shiny rocks. But what she wanted most was something magical, something that could make every day exciting. One morning, while walking to school, Maya passed by an old thrift shop she had never noticed before. In a dusty window sat a backpack, glowing faintly with golden threads. It looked ordinary at first, but when Maya stepped closer, the backpack seemed to wiggle. She went inside, and the shopkeeper whispered mysteriously, you found it. The enchanted backpack chooses its owner. Take good care of it." Maya carried the backpack home. Curious, she dropped her favorite toy rabbit inside. To her shock, the backpack wriggled, sparkled, and poof. The rabbit hopped out, alive and giggling. "Thank you, Maya. Finally, I can dance," said the rabbit, twirling clumsily ... Maya gasped, "You can talk." The first surprise. From that moment, Maya realized this was no ordinary bag. It could bring anything inside to life. The adventures begin. Maya and her rabbit, now named Bonbon, went on wild adventures with the backpack. She put her sketchbook inside, and out popped colorful dragons that flew around her room. She placed her soccer ball in it, and it bounced out, juggling itself while singing funny songs. Even her sandwich came to life, marching proudly like a little soldier before she ate it. It didn't mind. It said it was an honor. Trouble in the park. One afternoon, Maya took the backpack to the park. Curious, she placed a small wooden toy train inside. With a flash, a real, life-size train puffed out, chugging happily across the playground. Children cheered and climbed aboard, but soon the train zoomed too fast, circling the park wildly. Parents panicked and birds scattered. "Oh no," cried Maya. She hadn't realized the backpack's magic could get out of control. Solving the problem. Bonbon tugged on her sleeve. "Maya, the backpack's magic is playful, but it needs you to guide it. Use your imagination, not your fear." Maya closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and pictured the train slowing down, chugging gently, and finally stopping with a cheerful whistle. She whispered to the backpack, "Thank you for the fun, but it's time to rest." The train sparkled and shrank back into a harmless wooden toy. Everyone clapped, and the children shouted, "Do it again, Maya!" The lesson of the backpack. That night, Maya sat with Bonbon and the glowing backpack. She realized it wasn't just about making toys come alive. It was about using creativity and kindness to bring joy to others. From then on, Maya used the enchanted backpack wisely. She made paper birds fly for lonely children. She brought stuffed animals to life to comfort kids at the hospital. She even turned broken crayons into dancing rainbows that painted the sky. The backpack always sparkled proudly, happy to have found an owner with such a big heart. And so, wherever Maya went, the world became a little brighter, a little funnier, and a lot more magical thanks to her enchanted backpack.
Tommy and the Magical Bicycle. Once upon a time, in a cheerful little town, there lived a boy named Tommy. Tommy loved adventure. He ran through fields, climbed trees, and skipped across streams, but what he wanted most of all was a bicycle. Every afternoon, Tommy would sit by the street and watch the other children riding their bikes. Their laughter filled the air as their wheels spun like the wind. Tommy sighed and whispered, "If only I had a bike, I would ride to the very edge of the world." The Strange Bicycle Shop. One sunny morning, while exploring a quiet street he had never noticed before, Tommy stumbled upon a tiny old shop with a crooked sign that read, "Wheels of Wonder." Inside, the air smelled of wood and oil. Dozens of bicycles hung from the ceiling, red, blue, tall, and small. But in the very center stood one bicycle unlike any other. Its frame shimmered silver, its handlebars sparkled with tiny stars, and its wheels glowed with a golden light. The bell jingled softly by itself, as if calling Tommy closer. "Whoa," Tommy whispered, eyes wide. The shopkeeper, an old man with twinkling eyes, smiled. "Ah, you found the magical bicycle. It chooses its rider, not the other way around. And I think it has chosen you, Tommy." The first ride. Tommy climbed onto the bicycle, his heart pounding. The moment his feet touched the pedals, whoosh, the bike lifted into the air. "What?" Tommy laughed in surprise. The bicycle wasn't just fast, it could fly. It soared over rooftops, zoomed past birds, and even looped through the clouds, leaving a trail of glittering sparks behind. "Hold on tight," the shopkeeper called from below. "It will take you to places you never dreamed of." Magical adventures. The bicycle carried Tommy on the adventure of a lifetime. It whisked him over the forest, where deer and foxes looked up in wonder. It zipped across a sparkling river, where fish leapt out to wave at him. It even took him high above the mountains, where eagles flew beside him like friends. But the most amazing moment came when the bike soared into a rainbow. Suddenly, Tommy found himself in a hidden land filled with living toys, talking animals, and candy trees. A bear in a red hat waved. "Welcome, Tommy. Only the bravest riders reach the rainbow land." Tommy laughed and rode in circles, making new friends and exploring every magical corner. The promise. After what felt like hours of joy, the bicycle gently carried Tommy back to his town. He hopped off, still glowing with excitement. The shopkeeper patted the bike and said, "This bicycle is yours now, Tommy. But remember, its magic works only when you ride with kindness and courage." Tommy nodded proudly. "I promise." A hero in town. From that day on, Tommy was never just another boy in the town. He was the boy with the magical bicycle. Sometimes the kids saw golden sparks on the streets as he rode by, but only Tommy knew the truth. The world was full of magic, and his bicycle could take him anywhere. And every time he pedaled into the wind, Tommy whispered with a grin, "Adventure is only a ride away."